Welcome to the second section of Wade Goodall, Shane Fletcher and Vance's Pentacoastal, and this thing. This movie was released in May this year, but we're revisiting each section because it's so damn good. And this is the second part. Links to the other two are in the description below. This section starts in the Mentawais with Wade, of course, but also Dane Reynolds, Harry Bryant and Dylan Graves. And the Ments was never the plan for this film to go there, just because it's so overdone. It's the whore of the surf clip world. Remember when Dane made First Chapter back in 2006, and he made a point of not going because it had already become a surf film cliche at that point. Well, I mean, that was 14 years ago, and now Dane runs a business, he has 36 kids and a house full of exotic pets, and he has limited time, and there's absolutely no place that's more productive than the Ments. Even with the crowds, these macaroni sessions were filmed intentionally really tight in a way that allows you to get sucked into the surfing and the mood of the film without being distracted by the crowds. But if you zoomed out, you'd see a land camp, like 45 boats in the channel and about 68 billion people trying to snake each other for each set. But the crowd didn't stop Dane and Wade from playing Who Wore It Best on these like crazy backhand fin blasts. And that's the appeal of the Ments. It's not just about tubes, it's about tricks and big crazy jumps, which is completely underrated in regards to how gnarly it is. People like Felipe get called pussycats because of the waves they don't surf, but if you're doing big jumps, you're pretty much a psycho to me. And the proof of how gnarly it is that Wade suffered 3 major leg breaks over his career, and yet he's still got the balls to keep hitting meaty sections and stomping them. And yes, Wade does do a lot of airs, probably about 50 a day ever since Passion Pop.
Some airs, boys.
And he fits airs into parts of the wave that no one else does, and even his floaters are airs. So the leg snap ratio is pretty big, but that's still a lot of leg snaps. Air's a psycho, and plus if you're having a bad air day, which is kind of like a bad hair day, you get frustrated and you risk injuring your own face. So in conclusion, air's a gnarly, which is ironically the opposite of flying on planes, aka doing an air to another country. And everyone's like scared of flying, but if you look at the stats, your chances of dying flying are 1 in 205,552, which is low. So yeah, flying is safe. Tell your friends, and air's in the surf. Make sure you drink lots of milk.
Sure tastes good.
The next section's King Island, an island off the bottom of Australia for some of the funnest and most idyllic waves you could ever imagine. And King Island's been in a million surf movies over the years, most recently in Craig Anderson's Welcome Elsewhere. It just looks so incredibly fun. You can't help but think like, I might go there, until you find out exactly what's involved with getting there. For starters, you can only go there when there's big enough storms so that swell hits the north side of the island, but not so much wind so that you can actually paddle down the face, which often means jumping on a tiny plane last minute, loading your surfboards into the wings, and then flying directly into the storm, which is totally safe, statistically. And then there's the Arctic winds and just cold in general, which had Wade and Harry putting on their like 4 or 5 mil wetties at home, and then driving 45 minutes to the other side of the island to surf, where they'd surf in like booties, hoods, and gloves. And yeah, totally worth it, but it just makes me think of the filmers. Imagine being Shane Fletcher or Dave Fox, whose reward for going through all of this isn't to get waves, it's to swim around with a giant water housing and then get lipped in the head. But we are glad they did, because it's great watching.